Welcome to Clarity Financial's webinar on Social Security planning for couples. Again, this tends to be a very tough topic, so we hope you stick with us. And I'm Rich Rosso, Certified Financial Planner, also with Danny Ratliff, Certified Financial Planner. And these slides, so you know, will be available to you down below once we're done. So Danny, we do so many workshops on multiple topics within Social Security.
Yeah, and those workshops are so great because they're pretty interactive. You know, like these webinars are a little more difficult because as we're going through them, don't hesitate to stop, rewind, because it is a lot of information.
Scratch your head.
Yeah, exactly.
But you should go to realinvestmentadvice.com, look at the seminar link, and you'll see when we have our next Social Security workshop coming up, and please attend. Sign up there, and we're happy to help. And again, in 1935, Social Security was signed into law. It provided a basic income for everybody. Now again, it's morphed into something else, hasn't it, Danny?
Oh, way different than what it was purposely intended for.
Because companies had pensions, and this wasn't the pension for the country, but what it's turned into is definitely a source of income that is required and necessary for many seniors. But we want to make sure is you get the most out of it, especially when it comes to planning for you and a spouse.
Well, and surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, is that 62% of Americans require Social Security for more than half of their overall retirement income. That's a big number.
That's absolutely a big number. In 1939, benefits for spouses, survivors, and minor children were added. Remember, back in those days, most married women didn't work. So the spousal benefit was added to give wives 50% of their husband's benefit, even if they have never worked outside the home. If the worker dies at a young age, benefits are paid to children until they are age 18 and to the mother who's caring for the children. The mother's benefit stops when the child turns 16 and then resume again when she turns full retirement age.
So by the way, Social Security designers probably didn't ever think retirees would have young children, but the same rules apply. If you're old enough to collect Social Security retirement benefits and you have minor children, your kids can receive benefits too. But you have to be careful here. In order for the children to get the benefits, you have to file for your own benefit. It generally doesn't make sense to file for a permanently reduced benefit at 62, even if it would give your kids an extra 4 years worth of children's benefits. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Come see me if this situation applies to you.
You know who the first recipient of Social Security was, Danny?
I do. Ida Mae Fuller.
Ida Mae Fuller. And she lived to 100.
That's amazing.
Which was crazy that time.
That's right. To think about this, it started in 1935. The first recipient actually lives to 100. And now we're in an issue where people are living much longer.
You would have thought at the time they would have said, maybe we could start this later as opposed to 65 or... So it's just interesting because that wasn't the life expectancy when Ida Mae Fuller was the first collector of the benefit, for sure. So what we want to talk about is if your monthly benefit is $2,400, which is fairly standard if you've maxed it out, and you live 10 more, let's just work on 30 more years, you'll receive a total of $1,346,945.
That's a huge number.
In lifetime benefits. I mean, that's a lot of money that's in your pocket and not asking the portfolio to provide. And what do we see most of the time, Danny, right, is people maybe don't take it at the right time, and we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Well, they take it early. And what I love about this slide is it does put it in perspective in the sense that this is a large dollar amount.
It sure is.
This is huge. Now, it can vary depending on the dollar amount when you take Social Security, which we're going to get into more here.
Right. Now, Social Security offers annual inflation adjustments. So if your monthly benefit is, say, $2,400, just keep in mind annual cost of living adjustments are roughly 2.6. It hasn't been that way over the last few years. We've had some years where it was 0.
That's right. Or the Medicare premiums actually
had eaten up
correct
some of the benefit because Medicare premiums are going up anywhere from 4 to 5% a year. So, but again, it's nice. You may have not gotten a raise in a very long time, but at least you might get a cost of living adjustment from Social Security. So we're going to go through some very boring but important definitions. When we say FRA, it's not like fra like at the football game, right? It's something different. It's full retirement age. FRA is full retirement age. As the age at which you can start benefits. Your full retirement age can look a little strange, when you go to ssa.gov and access your statement, by the way, it's very easy to do. If you were born, say for example, in 1959, your full retirement age is 66 and 10 months. 1960 and later, 67 is considered your full retirement age, which you got to be sure of or understand. It's a little confusing when you look at Medicare, because Medicare is still 65.
Correct.
But Social Security at 1960 and later is 67.
So this is another one you're going to see quite a bit is PIA, primary insurance amount. Social Security benefits are based on your work history. The formula is rather complicated, but the important thing to know is that based on your highest 35 years of earnings, the more you earned each year, up to the annual Social Security maximum, the higher your benefit will be. And Social Security continues to update your earnings record even if you work into your 60s and 70s and even after you started receiving your Social Security benefit. So if you're wondering how you might be able to increase your Social Security benefit, that's one way. Keep working.
Keep working.
That's right. So to find your PIA or primary insurance amount, just look at your annual Social Security statement. It's your benefit amount at your full retirement age.
You know, I had one client tell me he was on the DAD retirement plan.
The DAD, what's that?
Die at desk.
There you go. Probably wouldn't be the first.
Yeah. Now, what if you this is very common, by the way. What if you apply before FRA, full retirement age? You're going to only receive a percentage of your primary insurance amount. And you notice that your benefit falls at age 62, 75% of your benefit is you're going to receive. So for example, if your benefit was $2,400 at full retirement age, it's now $1,800 a month, okay? So it's a big difference between $1,800 and $2,400. And again, we tend to see a majority of Americans take Social Security earlier, and part of the reason is they not getting good advice.
That's
or they're
correct.
not getting any advice from their financial advisors.
Well,
Or their financial advisors are not equipped to provide that. So you want to make sure you're not making a big mistake, which it could be for you, to take Social Security before full retirement age.
this could be huge because it impacts not only you, but your spouse as well.
Right.
So this next slide actually will show if your full retirement age is at 67, so born in 1960 or later. And as you see, whereas the benefit at 62 was 75% of your PIA, now it is actually 70%. So the reduction is even more. It's more to your advantage to wait.
Now, at realinvestmentadvice.com, we write a lot
We do.
about Social Security. We try to bust some of the myths out there and give you the real data. And what we've written an article on when you should take it early. Just go up to go to Real Investment Advice, go to the search tab at the top, type in Social Security, and we provide some information as to, hey, why would I take Social Security before FRA or full retirement age? So reasons not to file before full retirement age. Your benefit is permanently reduced. Now, some people say, and I heard this on the radio this morning,
What's that?
with another financial person.
Okay.
And he said, I'm 63 years old, and I'm still working, and I decided to take my Social Security benefits. And the person on the phone said nothing about this.
Really?
If you work, $1 in benefits will be withheld for every $2 that you earn over $17,040. That's if you are filing before full retirement age, which means maybe I'm 62 or 63, but I'm still working. And most likely I am still working. So why in heck am I filing for Social Security?
That's
but
right.
but we see it happen, right?
You do.
You will not be able to take advantage of savvy spousal strategies. And you're not going to make your spouse very happy if that's the case. Your surviving spouse's something called a survivor benefit will be lower. So this is not really many times a good idea when you have to consider others in your decision making.
Well, that's exactly right. And that's why we do advocate going to take a life expectancy quiz. Go to www.living2100, that's 100.com. And this will give you an idea. Obviously, nothing's, we can't dictate the future. But this will give us a good assessment.
I have a magic 8-ball for that. It works pretty well.
Perfect.
Works better than the Fed. I'll tell you that. But one of the things why do people take full retirement age early? You know, why do they take Social Security early? Well, one, they feel that the trust fund will not be there. Okay.
That's a big one.
Right. They feel the benefit's not going to be there. I would dare to say, if you're 50 and older, the benefit's going to be there, and I wouldn't worry about that. The other reason is they just want the money now. They want the money, they want to spend it on something, and they're not thinking of the long-term plan, and they're not thinking of their spouse or how it affects their spouse. So again, could be a pretty bad decision. Now, what if you apply after full retirement age? How many people do we know that are 70 years old and still working?
Actually, more and more these days.
So your benefit's going to earn 8% annual delayed credits to age 70. So from your full retirement age to age 70, you are going to get an 8% bump per year. I know stocks did great last year, and we have years when stocks do great overall, but 8% a year is going to be tough to get. So it's best to wait. So if you apply at 70 years old, the benefit will be 132% of your primary insurance amount. So if I was going to take my cash at full retirement age and get $2,400, if I wait, I'm going to get $3,168 per month.
That's a big difference.
That's a huge difference. That's a lot of dinners over at Whataburger. Sure.
Well, so this slide,
this
slide indicates if your full retirement age is 67. So just like we
67
saw
and older, yeah.
a couple slides back, it is to your advantage to wait. But the difference here is that you don't have the full 5 years from 66 to 70 of that increase. Now we only have the 4. So it's a 124% increase over that time frame. Now, still to your advantage to wait because that number goes from $2,400, your primary insurance
It's close
amount,
to $600 a month more.
Yep.
What can you do with that?
to $2,976. You could do a lot with $600 more a month. That's $7,200 a year.
Yeah, and get another dog.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What kind of dogs are you getting?
Go to 3 dogs to 4. Again, the impact here of delaying benefits is important. The when to apply. So if I claim Social Security at 62, that's $1,800 a month. Okay? So people sometimes will say, well, that's pretty good. You know, I get my $1,800. But when I start looking at cumulative benefits, if I live long enough, that's $518,400. It's a nice sum. However, if I claim Social Security at age 70, that's $3,168. $608,256. And my monthly income with COLA, which is the cost of living adjustment, is $5,717. So now think of it this way. I do my living to 100.
Correct.
Living to 100 says I'm going to live to age 88, and it's really a great questionnaire. It was designed by Dr. Thomas Peel. It will go through your family history and so forth, so it'll give you a number at least as a baseline. But my cumulative benefits at age 85 with a 2.6% annual COLA, if I claimed at 62, okay, 707,000, maybe close to 708,000, fine. But if I live long enough and I wait, 911,000, almost 912,000. That's a huge difference.
It's a $200,000 difference.
Yeah, what would you do with 200,000 over your lifetime?
I can think of a lot.
You have to pay for health care, but at least you'll have it, right?
That's right.
So, when to apply for Social Security? These are the key points to remember. If you apply early, guess what? Your benefit starts lower and stays lower for life.
So just like we saw on this last slide, those cost of living adjustments, they magnify the impact of claiming early. Because just like we saw on the last slide, that was a $200,000 difference at age 85. That is huge to a financial plan.
Absolutely. With that background understood, let's talk about spousal benefits. These are not just for non-working wives anymore. We've discovered some newer, more savvy ways to employ spousal benefits for married couples. By the way, the Supreme Court has ruled the same-sex marriage is legal in all states. That means same-sex couples who are legally married are eligible for spousal and survivor benefits the same as any other married couple. And this is the heart of the presentation.
So entitled, So going over some definitions here.
And it says entitled, the spouse of a worker entitled to Social Security may claim a spousal benefit. And again, title means that the worker is eligible for Social Security and has filed for benefits. So here's an example. So stay with us. I know Jack and Jill, these two, they get in a lot of trouble. They're married and both 66. They've paid into Social Security. Jack paid in all his life. His PIA, as we talked about, primary insurance amount, is $2,400. Jill has never worked. Once Jack files for Social Security benefits, Jill may file for her spousal benefit. And I think a lot of people have heard this, at least when we talk to them. They understand that the spousal benefit is generally 50% of Jack's PIA, or for Jill, $1,200.
Now, there are two things that can complicate this rather simplistic idea of spousal benefits being 50% of the worker's PIA. One is the age at which the spouse claims the spousal benefit. If she files before her full retirement age, she will receive a reduced spousal benefit. So if Jill files for her spousal benefit at 62, she'll receive 35% of Jack's PIA, not 50%. Or if Jill was born in 1960 or later, which means her full retirement age is 67, she'll get 32.5% of Jack's PIA if she files at 62. Note that after the full retirement age, the maximum spousal benefit is 50% of the worker's PIA. It does not go up if she files after her full retirement age. Also, if Jack is delaying his benefit and earning delayed credits, Jill's spousal benefit will still be 50% of his PIA, not the 50% of his higher benefit at age 70 or any number in between.
So this is a big one to swallow, right?
It is.
Because you have to understand that you are entitled as a spouse to 50% of the primary insurance amount at full retirement age. If your other party waits, your spouse waits to age 70, you're not going to get half of that larger benefit as a spouse.
That's correct.
And we see that mistake happen a lot.
We do, because this is the moving
people.
parts aspect of the whole Social Security. And this is where you can get a lot of misinformation or bad advice. So this is a slide I don't want to hang on to.
Yes. Again, more women in the workforce, so we understand that in 1950, only 30% of the labor force was comprised of women. Today, it's well over 50%. So more women are qualifying for Social Security on their own work record. So let's talk about some of the rules for spousal benefits. The primary worker must have filed, and they use his here, but it could be anybody. We see where it's the other way.
Either
right?
way.
So the primary worker must have filed for his or her benefit. Very important. The spouse must be at least 62 years old for reduced benefit, which is 35% of the worker's PIA, or 66 for the full benefit. And that's what you want, right? You want to get 50%.
Yeah, you don't want to leave anything on the table.
Don't want to leave anything on the table. And if you run a Social Security analysis, that should show you if you're going to leave money on the table. Then at least you can make an intelligent decision to see whether or not you want to do that or not.
That's right.
The spousal benefit is based on the worker's PIA, not his actual benefit.
So remember, it does not earn those delayed credit benefits that your spouse does.
It sort of stinks, but that's the way it is.
That's true.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could get half of the higher benefit at age 70, but you don't? But hey, you want to make sure you're taking as much as you can. As Danny said, no delayed credits on a spousal benefit after full retirement age. Darn, you got to be married to get these. At least 1 year. It's not much of, you would think that there would be a greater requirement of marriage.
You would think so.
Yeah, you get on that.
I'll work on it.
All right. So what if the spouse is also entitled to Social Security on their own work record? Right? So it's nice I have a spousal benefit, but I'm working too. So the spouse is going to receive her benefit or his benefit first.
And this is nice because this is where it really allows more flexibility in the planning.
It does. If you're both eligible for benefits on your own record, on own records, it really opens up a whole new world of income and dollars from Social Security, which could be very important.
That's right.
Now, if the spousal benefit is higher, well, she'll be paid the additional amount, which is the difference between what she earned on her own record plus whatever's left to the spousal benefit that gets you up to the 50%. Here's an example. Jack and Jill again. They're still married, by the way. Jack is 66, Jill is 62. Jack's PIA is $2,400. Jill's has got money on her own record, right? Fetching that pail, I guess.
There you go.
Of water up and down. $800. Jack files for benefits at 66. Jill files for benefits at 62. What? Right away we know, problem, right? She's filing for benefits before her full retirement age. So Jill has just gotten a reduced benefit of $600, which was 75% of the $800, but she does get the spousal add-on from Jack of $280 for a total benefit of $880.
Now, the biggest thing here is that she's leaving quite a bit on the table by taking it early, assuming she has a long life.
She sure is. So that's not what you call a savvy strategy.
So when should each spouse claim benefits? First, what is your goal? Maximum lifetime benefits, less income now, more income later. This is a great way to increase your longevity here.
I like the word maximum, but this is where you have to have an SSI, Social Security intervention, okay? Because guess what? It all depends on your plan and whether or not you can wait to get the maximum lifetime benefits. Some people can. They need the money coming in.
So some people need the more income now, less income later.
When that's the earliest benefits.
And we just talked about some flexibility that both spouse working allows. This will be the hybrid strategy. Some income now, more income later.
I like that. So here are some examples of claiming strategy. Jack is 62. His PIA is $2,400. And remember, you can get that number off your Social Security statement. Life expectancy, look, Jack did living2100.com. Life expectancy of 85. Now, Jill is 62. Her PIA is $800. Now, her life expectancy is 95. And that makes sense because women do have longer life expectancies than men. So many
Correct.
times men are planning
You're
their
planning
spousal
for your-
benefits
that's right.
for women.
These are the inputs we will use in our spousal planning calculator, which will come up with some claiming scenarios for us.
To get the maximum lifetime benefit, it usually means delaying the start of Social Security to age 70 for the higher earning spouse and to 66 or 70 for the lower earning spouse. Because Jill's PIA is less than half of Jack's PIA, her maximum benefit will be her spousal benefit, which is 50% of Jack's $2,400 primary insurance amount. The calculator comes up with this strategy for maximizing lifetime benefits. Now, in 2022, Jill claims on her own record at age 66. Her starting benefit will be $800. Now, Jack decides that he's going to wait. He's going to claim on his record at age 70. His starting benefit is going to be $3,168. And these numbers do not include cost of living adjustments, so the actual benefit amount should be higher. At the same time that Jack starts his benefit, Jill adds on her spousal benefit. This will give her an additional $400, bringing her total monthly benefit $1,200.
Let's also look at the strategy for earliest benefits. Because Jack and Jill are both 62 now, they could each file for benefits. If Jack files now, his starting benefit would be $1,800, which is 75% of his PIA. This would be his permanent benefit. It would not go up when he turns 66 or 70. If Jill files now, she'll be filing for both her own and her spousal benefit. Her starting benefit will be $880, or about 37% of Jack's PIA. This is actually a combination benefit consisting of her own reduced benefit of $600 plus a reduced spousal add-on of $280 for a total benefit of $880.
Now, the next is the hybrid strategy. Under the hybrid strategy, they get some income now and more income later. I call this the Jolly Rancher because you eat some now and you get to save some for later. Does anybody know who Jolly Rancher? You know what Jolly Rancher
Yes, I know
candy
what
is, right?
Jolly Ranchers
You sure?
are. I'm positive.
Okay. Under this
I may still have something in my teeth from 1980.
Under this strategy, the higher earning spouse maximizes his benefit by claiming at 70, which we hope that happens in majority of cases. The lower earning spouse gets some income started by claiming at 62. So in this case, Jill would claim her own reduced benefit at 62 and receive a starting benefit of $600. When Jack turns 70, he starts his maximum benefit of $3,168. Remember, for every year he delays past his full retirement age of 66, his benefit is going to increase by 8% a year. And again, these numbers do not include cost of living adjustments, so by the time Jack gets to age 70, his benefit is most likely going to be higher than this. Once Jack files for his benefit, Jill becomes entitled to a spousal benefit. Her spousal add-on is the difference between her PIA and one half of Jack's PIA, or $400. This is going to be added to her existing $600 benefit to give her a total benefit of $1,000. Note that this is not quite 50% of Jack's PIA. The reason is that Jill took the reduction because she claimed early. So the spousal add-on is added to $600, not $800, to give her a total benefit of $1,000 instead of $1,200. So we call this the hybrid strategy because it doesn't quite maximize Jill's benefit, but it does get the income started 4 years sooner.
This chart shows the couple's cumulative benefits over their lifetime. Jack's are in green and Jill's are in yellow. When Jack dies at age 85 in the year 2039, Jill will take over his higher benefit and her benefit will stop. Because we have Jill living another 10 years with Jack's higher benefit, her cumulative total is quite high, over $2 million. These projections do assume annual cost of living adjustments of 2.6%, which is the Social Security trustees' inflation projection.
Here's the same chart for the earliest benefit. Now it's a little flatter. We see income starting earlier, but the chart doesn't go up as high on the right. It stops at about $1.5 million. Still not chump change for sure. That's because they both started out with permanently lower benefit. As I mentioned, we generally do not recommend this strategy, but we like to show it for comparison purposes.
And now here's the chart for the hybrid strategy. It starts a small amount of income in the early years as Jill takes her reduced benefit at 62. Then the chart steepens once Jack starts his maximum benefit at age 70. Cumulative benefits at the end of Jill's life expectancy come to over $2 million.
Here we compare the cumulative lifetime benefits of the three strategies. We see that the maximum strategy does indeed give them the highest lifetime benefits, but the hybrid strategy really isn't too far behind. The green bar in the middle represents the early claiming strategy. Do you see why we don't recommend it? Because over a normal lifetime, you receive far fewer Social Security benefits when you claim benefits early. The line chart underneath the bars shows that in the early years, the early claiming strategy does, of course, give more benefits, but in the crossover year, around 2034, when they're 78, the other two scenarios beat out the early claiming scenario. And this is the key thing we want you to understand. How the claiming decisions you make while you're in your 60s play out over your lifetime. If just one of you lives longer than the break-even age of about 78, you will be much better off delaying your Social Security.
This is a chart I really want you to pay attention to, especially the women. If your husband dies first, which let's face it, statistically likely.
On purpose, right?
Could be.
Somebody told me that.
Your first year survivor benefit will be lower if your husband claims his benefit at 62. In this case, Jill's survivor benefit will be $39,994 a year if Jack has claimed his benefit at 62. But it will be over $70,000 if he had claimed at age 70. That's a huge difference. So when you're making Social Security claiming decisions, husbands, think about how the age at which you claim your benefit will affect your wife's spousal benefit. And wives, you too. The age at which your husband claims his benefit may have more of an impact on you than him.
And most important, both have a discussion before Social Security benefits are taken. Sometimes Danny and I see one party take it and the other party surprised. Taking Social Security and a surprise is not a good strategy.
Not at all.
So you want to design your own claiming scenario? Now, of course, at Clarity, we can run customized scenarios and see how they compare. But again, you should be able to meet with a qualified financial advisor, preferably a fiduciary who has your highest and best interest first, to go ahead and run all the different scenarios that are available to you. So, again, claim now, claim more later. At full retirement age, higher earning spouse restricts his application to his spousal benefit. The lower earning spouse must have filed for benefits on her record. So this is an interesting strategy, right?
It is.
Because any one of you can collect spousal benefits, it's always assumed that the lower earning spouse
Collects the higher.
collects the higher benefit. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case
It's very
when it
true.
comes to this claim now, claim more later. So at age 70, the higher earning spouse switches to his own maximum benefit. Remember, we talked about this. If you wait until age 70 because of the full retirement, the delayed retirement credits, you're going to get more of a benefit. So here's an example. Oh, we got Larry and Linda. Jack and Jill are gone.
They're gone. So
Yeah.
Larry and Linda, they're 66. Larry's PIA is $2,400. Linda's PIA is $800. So she files for her benefit at age 66. Larry files for his spousal benefit at the same time and begins collecting $400, half of Linda's PIA. Interesting strategy. When Larry turns 70, he now switches to his maximum benefit, and Linda adds on her spousal benefit.
So wait a minute. So even though I might have earned more than my wife, I can possibly collect half of her spousal benefit?
That's true. That's
Wow.
correct. Now, the Budget Act in 2015 did change this a little bit. There's a caveat. You had to turn 62 before the end of 2015 to take the spousal benefit if your benefit is higher.
In other words, this restricted application is not available to everybody.
That's true. So here's the before picture. If Larry had not filed for his spousal benefit at 66, he would receive zeros from age 66 to 70 while he was waiting for his own benefit to build at maximum delayed credits. So not receiving anything during that time. Now the after scenario shows Larry files for his spousal benefit at 66 and he receives $400 a month from age 66 to 70. This amounts to nearly $20,000 in additional benefits and still allows him to start his highest benefit at age 70.
That's nice. Get an extra $20,000 and you didn't even know it, right?
Absolutely.
Now, there are a few procedures and rules you must follow if you want to do the claim now, claim more later. First, you'll want to file online because the frontline workers in the Social Security offices are generally confused about this strategy. There's a question on the application that says, if you are eligible for both retirement benefits and spouse's benefits, do you want to delay receipt of your retirement benefit? Check yes.
Only one spouse may do this. Both spouses cannot receive spousal benefits on each other's record at the same time. Here's the reason. In order for Larry to claim a spousal benefit off Linda's record, Linda must file for her own retirement benefit, and Larry must restrict his application to his spousal benefit. Linda can't also claim a spousal benefit off Larry's record because he hasn't yet filed for his own benefit. He can't. If he wants to receive the spousal benefit, so couples must make a choice here. If only one spouse can get the spousal benefit, which spouse should that be? Our spousal planning software can help you decide.
So now, this is a bit of a mystery for a lot of people, but it's survivor benefits. Yes, Social Security provides survivor benefits. I hate to break this to you, but odds are one of you is going to live longer than the other. You've probably already thought about this. Hopefully you've done some estate planning to make sure your wishes are carried out after your death and that everything goes smoothly after you're gone. The most important thing to take care of is the income for your surviving spouse. Now, usually it's the wife who lives longer than the husband. Statistics bear this out. But of course, lots of different things can happen. The goal with survivor planning is to provide the surviving spouse with enough income to meet her needs through her remaining lifetime. Social Security can help with this because it pays survivor benefits that last for life. So the key in Savvy Social Security spousal planning is maximizing the survivor benefit to give the widow as much income as possible after her husband dies.
Now, I want you to follow this carefully because the amount of the survivor benefit can vary greatly. It depends on two things. The first factor is when the deceased spouse originally claimed his benefit. This is called the original benefit. The second factor is when the surviving spouse claims that benefit. This is called the actual benefit. These two events are usually separated in time. For example, the husband could claim his Social Security benefit at 62 and then live another 20 or 30 years. The surviving spouse won't claim the survivor benefit until many years in the future. But the fact that he took his benefit at 62 means it will be much lower than if he had taken it at 70. Husbands often don't think about this when they are 62 and deciding to apply for Social Security. The other factor is when the surviving spouse claims her survivor benefit. If she is over full retirement age, it doesn't matter. But if her husband dies before she turns full retirement age, and if she applies for the survivor benefit before full retirement age, the survivor benefit will be reduced.
Okay, so let's look at an example. Jack and Jill are married. We're back to Jack and Jill. Jack's PIA is $2,400. Jack dies at age 70. If Jack had claimed his retirement benefit at 70, Jill's original survivor benefit would be based on his benefit at the time of his death. So $3,168. This is very different than a spousal benefit. However, if he had claimed his benefit at 62, Jill's original survivor benefit would be based on 82.5% of Jack's PIA, or $1,980. Now, if you were Jack, would you rather have Jill receive $3,168 a month after your death, or $1,980? This is why we say that the most loving thing a husband can do for his wife is delay his Social Security benefit to age 70 in order to increase the survivor benefit for his wife. You know, I did have somebody do the opposite. Claimed early on purpose to keep a lower survivor benefit. You know why? Because I'm not going to have my wife spend this money on a new husband.
That's ridiculous.
I know, but it sort of happens. I mean, there's a lot of emotion when it comes to Social Security.
Well, there is, but I've seen people also do that because they think it impacts the divorced spouse.
Yes.
When they're already separated. So now let's look at the second factor. The actual survivor benefit will be based on when the widow claims the survivor benefit. As I mentioned, if Jill is over full retirement age when Jack dies, she will get the full survivor benefit. But let's say Jack is older than Jill. Let's say she's 60 when he dies. She could go ahead and apply for her survivor benefit as early as age 60 or even 50 if she's disabled, but the benefit will be reduced. If Jack had claimed his retirement benefit at age 62, and if Jill claimed her survivor benefit at 60, she would get 71.5% of his PIA, or $1,716. Now, at the other end of the spectrum is the maximum benefit. This occurs when Jack delays his Social Security benefit to age 70, and Jill waits until her full retirement age or later to claim her survivor benefit. In this case, the original benefit is 132% of Jack's PIA, and Jill will get 100% of it for a permanent monthly benefit of $3,168, not including annual cost of living adjustments. Now, as you can see, there's a huge difference in the amount of surviving spouse's income depending on the decisions that you make. These decisions will determine Jill's standard of living later in life, which is why this is a decision that needs to be made as a couple.
So here are some key points to remember. Individual Social Security benefits stop at death. If Jack dies, his benefit will stop. The surviving spouse is entitled to a survivor benefit equal to the deceased spouse's benefit. So if Jack dies, Jill's original survivor benefit will equal Jack's benefit at the time of his death. Jill will receive the full survivor benefit if she claims it at full retirement age or later. Jill's own benefit is going to stop. Now, if the widow's own retirement benefit is higher, she will keep her own benefit. Unfortunately, you don't get to collect both. And we try to tell people that we work with that you might have, you're going to get less from Social Security because you're going to lose one check. And you need to prepare for that.
Okay, let's finish up by going over some planning points. As we mentioned earlier, odds are one of you will live longer than the other. While both of you are alive and kicking now, this is the time to plan for the demise of one of you. Survivor planning involves a lot of different issues, but since this presentation is about Social Security, that's what we'll focus on. What can you do now to maximize Social Security income for the surviving spouse? This bullet point is directed to the high-earning spouse in the family. You should delay the start of your own retirement benefit at age 70. As we saw on the earlier table, the survivor benefit can range from 82.5% of your PIA to 132% of your PIA, depending on when you originally claimed your benefit. Most people are not thinking about survivor benefits when they start Social Security at 62. So I hope we've opened your eyes to the fact that the age you are when you initially claim your Social Security benefit will directly impact your loved one's survivor benefit many years in the future. Do her a favor, or he, and wait until age 70 to start Social Security.
Number 2, and this is directed to the lower earning spouse who will probably live longer than her husband. File for your survivor benefit at full retirement age or later. If you wait until you are full retirement age to start the survivor benefit, you are going to receive more than if you claim it earlier. Now, what you can do while you're waiting to reach full retirement age is file for your own retirement benefit at age 62. This will not cause your survivor benefit to be reduced, and it will at least bring in some income for you for the 4 years, say age 62 to 66.
So regardless of what you do as a couple to maximize your survivor benefit, you'll need to plan for the loss of one Social Security benefit. If Jill switches to her survivor benefit, her own benefit will stop. If she retains her own retirement benefit because it is higher, Jack's benefit will stop. Most couples depend on both Social Security checks to meet household expenses. If one benefit stops, this can be quite a blow to the surviving spouse's standard of living. This goes beyond savvy Social Security planning. So we'll stop here and leave you with lots of things to think about.
Keep in mind, making claiming decisions must be done as a couple. So Danny and I see this all the time, where this is a family decision. We also see perhaps men who get married older and they have younger children.
That's right.
And then we have to plan for survivor benefits. I mean, families today are very different than they were in 1935 and 1939 when Social Security was created. Take advantage of those spousal benefits as the rules allow, and a good planning software will help you to show you the right decision to make.
And put these benefits in lump sum perspective, because then you can really see the impact over the years what taking it early may have.
Right? So you want to plan for your surviving spouse's income. Very important. Integrate Social Security into the rest of your retirement income plan. That's what we call our distribution strategy, right? You spend all these years accumulating assets, but you better have a very good distribution strategy to recreate the paycheck in retirement. Thank you for attending this webinar. I'm Rich Rosso, Danny Ratliff. We hope to provide many more of these in the future for you. And if you would like a copy of these slides, they are available down below. And again, go to realinvestmentadvice.com, go up to the search area and type in Social Security to get our articles pertaining to the subject. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate you listening to us. Thank you.